Welcome, welcome. I am Sarah Turner, and I am a copywriter and copywriting mentor. And I'm curious, do you know these 10 tech troubles that will absolutely ruin your copy? Now, here's the thing. As a copywriter, you're pretty much just responsible for the words. You can just simply submit your work via a Google Doc, and that's generally it. You do not need to be tech savvy or anything like that. I know I'm not. But over the years, lo and behold, I have come across many situations in which I get results back on my copy. They aren't what I think they should be. And with a little bit of digging, I realize it's actually a tech issue and not the copy itself. But I do want to say, sometimes we write copy and it just doesn't quite perform as we think it should. That also happens too. However, it is so important to start to educate yourself around some of the tech things that could potentially influence your copy, because wouldn't you want to figure that out and get to the bottom of it rather than think it was something that you did or the copy that you wrote? So, before you think that you totally don't know what you're doing and imposter syndrome kicks in because your conversion rates aren't quite where they should be, let's look into some of these tech issues that can absolutely ruin your copy. So the first things first, a bad mobile view or something, a web page, a website that isn't mobile ready. Okay, so at this point in time, 70 to 80% of people are using their phones for the internet. So you can no longer afford to have a website or even a page of that matter online, like a landing page or anything like that, not be mobile friendly. You've got to make sure that you check what your copy looks like on a phone. In fact, even when I'm just working within a Google Doc, I'll oftentimes open my copy in a phone so I can see exactly what it looks like. What this has resulted in is I actually have much shorter paragraphs than I used to 7 years ago. So when you start to look at it on your phone, you'll notice that 4 or 5 sentences actually looks like a really big wall of text. And when somebody sees that, they're really likely to just go ahead and click away because they're busy. Maybe they're looking at it while they're walking somewhere or while they're waiting for a doctor's appointment in the waiting room. You know, they're going to open that page and they're going to see the walls of text and they're going to think, whew, never mind, I've got other places to be. So really, truly, you've got to check your copy on a mobile device. And that doesn't just mean within the Google Doc what the writing looks like and how it's formatted, because seriously, this is where formatting is going to save you tremendously, but also when your client uploads your copy into whatever platform they're using to host it, you gotta go back and check it. Because sometimes it's quite frankly as simple as that. And let me tell you, when you do catch something like that and you realize, okay, that's why conversion rates are so bad, it's really relieving and it prevents you from going back and doing unnecessary rewrites. Number 2 is a long load time. Your load time should be no more than 2.3 seconds. Truly, it's got to be so fast because people have the shortest attention spans, and if they click on a page and it takes too long to load, they're already done. They're already moving on to the next thing and looking for something else that is going to serve them better. So be sure you check load times. And things can be done to kind of bring those load times down. Usually it's making sure that the images and videos are smaller file sizes or even links to other hosting platforms for videos, for example. So again, when you finish putting your copy into the hands of your client, make sure once it's live, wherever it's hosted and wherever it lives, you get a live link so that you can check the load time. Another one, and this is for specifically web pages or blogs or anything that you're trying to drive traffic to, and that is an unindexed page. This is something that sometimes happens, and you'll write something and you'll think, oh my gosh, why is this website not doing well? And it's because it's not being crawled by Google. And you can check this on your Google console. But this is something that I have seen before where we're like, there's literally no traffic to this page. What is going on here? And lo and behold, it has nothing to do with your copy. And lo and behold, it has everything to do with whether or not the page is indexed. A very, very simple fix. So just go ahead and check it. Number 4 are broken links. And this is even the worst thing when it happens to be in your CTA or your call to action button. I have had this happen a few times and it is such a bummer, but the great news is usually it's on a page that's live and you can just fix it real quick. And oftentimes people will let you know if it's not working, but definitely you want to recheck your links every time you make something go live. Go through all the links in the page and make sure they function once it's live. Number 5 are hard to close pop-ups. Now, there are some people who actually make this intentional when they have a pop-up on their webpage difficult to close. If you think about it, we have the instinct to go to the upper right-hand corner to look for that X to close it out. And some people will do what's called a gray pattern, where in that upper right-hand corner, maybe they'll put click here to like move forward, or click here to sign up, or click here to purchase, whatever. But they do that intentionally to kind of play on the fact that they know what we do automatically. Now, the problem with this is it just pisses people off. If you are trying to manipulate people in that way to get them to move forward in your funnel or accidentally make a purchase or whatever it is that you're doing, it might work a time or two, but ultimately it's not going to leave a good feeling with your client or your customer, and it's not going to be great for building a long-lasting relationship. So skip the tendency to try and find a hack or a trick or, using gray patterns to try and coerce people into engaging with you, when ultimately they should have the power to decide whether or not they want to continue with your pop-up or not. Instead, I want to encourage you to make that pop-up really compelling. You do not need tricks when you are writing compelling copy that is actually getting in front of the people who you are serving. That's the way to do this. That's the way to play the long game. And as a copywriter, quite frankly, it's the way to play the ethical game. Number 6 is duplicating content on your website. Now, there are some people who say this is not nearly as important as it once was because Google has gotten smarter. But I'm kind of still in the camp of, why wouldn't you just rewrite it? One, you're a copywriter, so that's a little bit more work for you to do, but that's a good thing, right? But 2, just play it safe, because I've seen people use duplicate content across websites or even within their website, and it has actually hurt the traffic to that page. So play it safe. I mean, again, this is a piece of SEO strategy that could change in the future, but at the end of the day, I really just don't think it's worth it. Rewrite the stuff. The next one is poor website navigation. Again, remember how I talked about how we tend to automatically go to that upper right-hand corner and click on that to X out of something? The same thing goes for navigation of a web page. There are a lot of things that are pretty automatic. For example, generally when you list out the different pages of a website, home is first, maybe about is second, and contact is last. So play into that. Play into the automatic tendencies of people, because quite frankly, you don't want them to have to think really hard about how to contact you. Because if they want to contact you, you want them to get in touch so that you guys can start building that relationship, right? So make sure that your website has really clear and obvious navigation. And kind of touching on the previous point, make sure it's really obvious on mobile, because most people are going to be looking at your website on their phone. The next thing is maybe not quite tech, but still something worth looking into if you're noticing poor conversions for a particular client, and that is bad referrals. Because at the end of the day, if you are writing copy for a client that has bad referrals and a bad reputation, people are going to do a little bit of sleuthing online before they purchase from them. Sometimes, not always, but when they do, if they start to find Reddit forums about how awful they are and their customer service is non-existent, or maybe they find out that there's really bad Yelp reviews or things like that, you might be getting poor conversion rates that are a little bit out of your hands. And in that case, you'd probably want to work on rebuilding the reputation if you want to keep that client. I mean, if there are good reasons for bad referrals, then you might actually not want to keep that client. I'm all about amplifying deserving voices, and so you got to make sure that you're actually writing for someone who has a reputable product or service, one that really delivers on what it says it's going to do. Because sure, you could probably be the most amazing copywriter in the world and sell some of that product or service and make some money, but at the end of the day, it's not going to last long term. The next one I'm going to call too many clicks. And this could be from a really long website form where people have to move through too many steps, or it could be too many checkout steps when they're going to actually purchase something. But when there are too many clicks or too many steps for somebody to go through, you're going to lose a lot of people. In fact, just think about it this way. Every single click you make in a process, you're going to lose a big percentage of people. So the fewer clicks that people need to make, the better. I always try to get clients to just have things on one page rather than moving through things. I also really love those little bars at the top of checkouts that tell you what percentage you have left until you're done, because that helps set expectations. Because even if there's 2 clicks, if they see, oh, 1 click made me 50% complete in this process, it's going to be much more likely that they stick with you. Okay, and then there's the last one, going to the spam folder. And now this is for emails specifically. Going to the spam folder is the worst. And it means that people aren't going to see what you wrote in the first place. So your conversion rates are understandably going to be pretty abysmal probably. So what you want to do is, first things first, make sure that your client didn't purchase a list. This is the worst. People don't want you showing up in their inbox without saying it's okay for you to be there. It is their virtual living room. Have some respect. So please don't purchase email lists. It's going to make it so much more likely that you end up in the spam folder. And the other thing you need to make sure you do is that you sign up with a reliable email service provider. So make sure that you're using one of the bigger names, because quite frankly, they're going to have a better deliverability overall. Also, good email service providers will actually give you some guidance onto how to make your list better. For example, they might say, hey, it's time to clean up all the people who haven't engaged with your emails in a while. And that is actually a good thing. I know that people can have a really hard time when they think about removing people from their email list, but you can always export them and save them if that helps you with your sanity a little bit. But it is so important that you have a really good track record with your email service provider and with your audience. So the other things you can do are, don't be sleazy. Don't use clickbait subject lines. Don't piss people off, because if people start reporting you, that is going to affect your deliverability. So just watch what you say and deliver on your promises. It's really not that complicated. Don't try to use any dirty tricks or anything like that. Instead, think of this as playing the long game. You can also ask people to whitelist you or to move your emails over into their primary inbox. It's really easy in Gmail these days. They can just click and drag. So include that in your emails. Encourage them to pull you out of the promotion folder or wherever, so that your email service provider and Gmail see that you're actually loved by your audience and therefore deserving to be right in their inbox. So these are some of the most common tech issues I've seen impact copy. And I wanted to share them with you because, again, while you don't need to be super tech savvy to be a copywriter, it is worth troubleshooting when you come up against a really poor conversion rate, low traffic, or you're ending up in spam. Don't give up right away. One of the jobs of being a copywriter is to figure things out. And I actually really enjoy that aspect of it. One of the ways you can be an even better copywriter is to just figure things out. Whenever there are problems or hiccups, don't give up right away, and don't always assume it's your copy. Do a little sleuthing, ask around, and see what you can figure out. So I hope that helps. It's really important to know this stuff. Again, it's going to make you a better copywriter, and it's going to help you make better strategy recommendations to your clients overall, which ultimately is going to mean you're going to get paid better. So I hope that helps. Thank you so much for being here. I love your comments. Thank you again for submitting them, for giving me so many wonderful ideas. This came straight from one of your comments, so please keep leaving them. And of course, hit that thumbs up button if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe. It means so much to me. Thanks, guys.